Hello and welcome to AI at Work. If you have been hearing a lot about Claude these days, then you're not alone. It seems to be on everybody's mind at the moment. If you're curious about how Claude works and are interested in switching over from a platform like ChatGPT, then keep watching. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. When you first open up Claude in the web browser, it should look something like what you're seeing on my screen here. You've got your traditional chat window. You have a lot of your setup and functions on the left-hand side. And then right under that, you have all of your recent chats. Now, the first thing I wanted to show you is how you personalize your version of Claude. So you go down to the settings in the bottom and you click this pop-up window, you select settings, and then you have a whole bunch of different areas that you can personalize. Just to point out a few, so under general, you can tell your name, what you would like to be called, and then this is where you add in your master custom instructions. If you've been using another platform like ChatGPT or Gemini, Claude has a really easy way for you to port over all of the things that the other platform remembers about you. So to do that, you select capabilities, and you scroll down a little bit and there's a section here called Import Memory from Other AI Providers. And you click the button, Start Import. You copy the prompt that you would add into ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot and ask it to export all of its memories. Once you have your output, you copy and paste it right into here, and then Claude loads it into its memory. The next thing I'd like to show you in Claude is projects. And projects are very similar to the type of projects you would use in ChatGPT or similar to gems in Gemini. And the way you create them is you click projects in the left-hand menu, you select new project, and then you can give it a name. Let's call this one Content Creator. You can describe your project, and then in here is where you customize what you want this project to know or to do. So I can add specific instructions here. I want you to create on-brand content, and then I can add all kinds of files here. It could be a brand guide, it could be a writing style, it could be examples of other content that I've created that I want it to follow. And then anytime you want to create content, you can come back to this project and it's already set up. So if you find yourself dropping the same prompt in over and over again, that's a good sign that you need a project. Okay, so I know that's a really quick tour of Claude in a web browser, but now I'd like to show you what the desktop version of Claude looks like. So we're going to jump over there. Now we're inside Claude Desktop, which looks a little bit different from the web browser. You'll notice right away at the top, we have a couple of different choices. We can chat with the desktop app, and this operates exactly the same way as the web browser. You can also code inside Claude. We won't be covering that today. Or you can use something called Cowork, which is where the desktop app becomes really powerful. And I'll show you a really quick demo of how this works. To get the best out of the Claude desktop, the first thing to do is to customize the desktop app by adding your connectors. And Claude has access to tons of different platforms. So most of these, you should just be able to click the plus button, browse the connectors, and then find the platform you'd like to connect. If it's not available, you can build a custom integration, which is a little bit of extra work. It is a bit technical. We're not going to cover that today. But if you're looking to connect things like Figma or Jotform, Notion, and so on, all you do is you click the plus button and then it walks you through the authorization steps. So definitely recommend doing that first before you start using Cowork. Okay, now that you know how to set up Claude Cowork, I want to show you a really quick example of how you would put this into action. So one of the things that I've done is I have created a daily briefing inside of Cowork, and it sends me a Slack briefing every morning at 7 a.m. So the first thing that you do is you go to create a new task under Cowork, and then you tell Claude exactly what you would like to do. So create a daily briefing for me that outlines my full day. Pull info from my calendar, Gmail, and Notion to-do list. And then you just let Cowork go ahead and do the work. As you'll see here in this interface, it'll start to make a plan. And then over here in the sidebar, it will show you the progress it's making towards that plan. What will happen too is as it's thinking through this problem, it'll pull the context from the connectors I've given it access to. Because I'm telling it to access my calendar and Gmail, we'll see Google Calendar, Gmail, and Notion pop up here. There we go. And then it will keep thinking through this whole process and come up with a plan. I will give it approval, and then it will go ahead and build it. And then when we get to the end, we will schedule it. I'm going to stop that because it does take some time to build out these automations, but I'll show you what this looks like in its final form. So I have my daily sprint briefing, which is what I've called it here, and I schedule it every morning for 7 a.m. And so you can see the history. I'm getting this every morning, and then the instructions that it built for itself. So it looks at my Google Calendar, my Gmail, my Notion. I also had it look at my meeting transcripts, and then it builds out the briefing for me. And I'm going to pop over to Slack really quick so you can see how this looks in the actual Slack platform. Okay, so what we're looking at here is my Slack account. And you can see here I have my daily briefing for the day. It's giving me a full outline of my schedule. It's listing my top priorities. It's making some assumptions based off my calendar and my Gmail. It's calling out some of the things in my inbox, open loops from recent meetings, and then I even have a full sprint plan for the day, and it's telling me all the different things that I should work on. And then we have one watch out. The 10:30 to 11:30 window looks like breathing room, but it isn't. Use it for admin follow-ups, not content. And a little pep talk at the end. So there you go. You've seen a full end-to-end workflow in Claude Cowork. Hopefully you found that quick walkthrough of Claude and Claude Cowork helpful. I am hosting a full 90-minute webinar next month. If you are interested, I will pop the registration page link down below, so sign up. And as always, we'll see you next time.